The coolest concert in history just happened over the past weekend. At least it's the coolest concert in history if you are a huge Yu-Gi-Oh anime nerd like myself. And of course, I am referring to Duelist Kingdom Live. Now, this was an event, a concert that was held over the past weekend, and it featured artists like Kimeru, Cinema Staff, Vistlip. I'm going to go through the whole set, and I'm going to give my thoughts on how awesome this event must have been. And I say must have been because, well, unfortunately, if you were not in Japan, you had literally no way to watch it. So I'm going to give the details on this concert, what songs were played, what artists were there, and then I am also going to give my thoughts on just the really, frankly, gross restrictions that were put in place on this concert by I don't know who. I mean, there were a lot of different people involved. It could have been the venue. It could have been Konami. It could have been the streaming site. I really don't know, but we'll get to that. First and foremost, I want to start with the really cool stuff. And that, of course, is the actual show. This was announced back at Jump Festa. Duelist Kingdom Live, really Duelist Live Kingdom. It's a way to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series. And the concert actually started with Kaiba's voice actor and Joey's voice actor coming out, doing a little bit of banter, which is really cool. And the first song that was played was Genkai Battle, which is a very well-known song, probably the most popular Yu-Gi-Oh! GX ending, the first ending. And of course, you have the GX remaster going on right now, so it makes sense for that to kick off the show. And then Masaki Endo came out, just the GOAT of Yu-Gi-Oh! Music, in my opinion, did some amazing songs for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. He performed Believe in Nexus and Clear Mind. I believe Clear Mind was the only non-opening or ending song that we got at this concert. He did not perform Going My Way, which I would have been screaming, encore, encore. Going My Way is probably my favorite of those three songs. He also did Yakusoku no Melody, but it makes sense he wouldn't play that. That's a much slower song. And then the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush ending, Sayonara, which of course is the final ending. Ayaka Nanase came out to perform that, and she also did a cover of Masterpiece. I've looked for this cover. I have not been able to find it. I imagine she killed it. She's actually one of my favorite recent vocalists that I've heard. I think she did such an amazing job on that final ending of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. I think it's one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Endings in general when it comes to music. So really cool that not only Go Rush gets a little bit of love there, but that also you have a cover that was performed of another Yu-Gi-Oh! Ending. And then Cinema Staff came out to perform Kira Fuda, which is Arc 5's fourth opening. A really, really good opening. I know Kira Fuda is one of the more popular Arc 5 openings. I've always preferred Burn, but Kira Fuda is a really, really good one. It's the only song Cinema Staff performed, but Cinema Staff is one of the more well-known bands that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has probably ever had, so I'm sure people were thrilled to see them there, even if it was just for one song. And then Masami Okoi, I hope I'm saying that last name right. She was the singer of Shuffle and the afternoon of that day, and opening and ending, I believe the second opening and ending for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. So that's kind of a good blast from the past, and Shuffle is a great 5-minute, guitar solo-esque song. I really, really actually do like that opening quite a bit. Then there was a little bit of a break. You had famous voice actors that were brought out on stage. Yugi, Kaiba, Janochi, Marek, Mai, Mokuba, and they talked about their performances and the chemistry that they had back in the day, so that's really cool. The second half was then kicked off by Vistlip, which low-key Vistlip does not get talked about enough. Ozone and Artist. Some of the best endings in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's ending 3, Zexal ending 4, incredible songs, and they performed both of them. I mean, it would have been worth it just to see that. Like, I love both of those endings, and Vistlip really doesn't get talked about enough as one of the greater bands, I think, that have performed Yu-Gi-Oh! Openings and endings. And then the singer of Unbreakable Heart, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal's fourth opening, came out, which that's like a big, kind of pump-up song, so, love that. And then we got some Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's love, Yusuke Saike, who, if you don't watch Rush, he is kind of like the Masaki Endo of the Rush Yu-Gi-Oh shows. He did Na 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 Na, which is the first opening of Sevens, and some other songs as well, but he performed that and One Way, which is the first ending of Go Rush. So we got some Rush love there. And then Kimeru came out as the last artist, did Go Forward, they did Calling, and they did Overlap. Just an absolutely incredible set list. And then as the encore, all the artists came out and performed the final opening of Go Rush, opening 3, which I'm actually not the biggest fan of. I honestly would have liked if maybe they did a cover of a different song, but I guess that's the final opening of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime at this moment, so makes sense. And I do know that song definitely has its fans. And then they closed with Genkai Battle. I guess all the artists, you know, did a big cover of that. But yeah, really cool concert, really amazing set list. And I would have absolutely loved to have been there. Of course, this happened over in Japan. So, you know, unless you have a lot of money and some time, or, you know, you live locally to it, it would have been very hard to attend. But I want to talk about some of the logistics that went on with this concert and why I feel a little, I don't know if disrespected is the right word, because that seems like, you know, a little extreme, but I mean, I guess that word maybe does kind of fit the bill. So this concert was announced back in December of 2024. It really wasn't talked about all that much. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this concert wasn't advertised all that much. I mean, you would see the social media post here and there, but I didn't really hear a lot of hoopla regarding this concert. And, you know, I figured, all right, we'll be able to maybe stream it. I'm going to use a VPN. All is good in the world, if it's even region locked. Well, not only was this concert region locked, but it was behind a paywall and VPN usage was blocked. Now, the concert cost about $40 and you could buy it on the abema.tv or abema.tv website. And again, it was about $40 US from my understanding. And I'll actually not even really criticize the paywall. I don't have much of an issue with that. Like, if you are going to conveniently live stream it so a user can watch from the comfort of their living room, their bedroom, you know, buy it for a few friends and watch, you know, whatever. Like, I don't mind if there's a price point there and a little bit of a paywall. I actually have no issue with that. What I really take issue with is, again, the purposeful and intent restrictions that this concert had. Not only was it region locked to Japan, which is kind of the norm for those sorts of events that Konami runs over in Japan. Jump Festa panels are always region locked as well. Anime Japan panels, region locked. But they went beyond just region locking this, and they restricted VPN usage. I actually know somebody in Europe who still paid money and tried to watch this, but sadly, every time they tried to load the stream would buffer, it wouldn't load, and it was unwatchable. And companies certainly can go out of their way to restrict most VPN usage from working. And I just don't understand the point of this, right? I would have happily paid the $40. I know there probably are thousands of people that would have happily paid the $40 to be able to watch this concert live, an amalgamation of every single Yu-Gi-Oh series being represented by openings and endings being played live by bands that have had such big impacts on us Yu-Gi-Oh fans. It would have been an amazing experience to watch, and the fact that it was so heavily restricted against anybody not living in Japan really stings, because it feels like they went purposely out of their way to prevent people from watching. And even if you're someone who was born in Japan, still lives in Japan, and maybe was just on vacation to a different part of Asia or Europe or Australia or wherever, you couldn't watch this concert, even if you have lived in Japan your whole life, just because you were on vacation at the time of the show. So the restriction doesn't make sense. It prevents them from making extra money. If 40 international fans, or excuse me, if 1,000 international fans bought this concert at $40 each, they're making $40,000 extra dollars for doing absolutely no extra work. So again, Konami Japan, whoever's decision it was, because it may not have been them. It's easy to scapegoat them, but we really don't know whose decision it was. They have to know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very popular IP, even on the anime side. And I don't get why they still treat Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially the anime, like it's some indie show that not many people know about or not many people watch. Like Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's freaking Yu-Gi-Oh!, man. Especially those early shows of the original GX, 5Ds, Zexal. There are huge fan bases worldwide for these shows, and there are many people that would have paid to have what would have been an amazing live concert experience and an awesome love letter to the 25th anniversary of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I don't know. It was a very frustrating decision, and I give them so much credit for putting together something like this, for getting all these different big-name artists to come back and perform live in front of, you know, a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans in Japan. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. But, like, to go so far out of their way to restrict anybody not in Japan from watching this is just, I don't know. It's another thing that just makes you shrug your shoulders and really not understand the reasoning and the decision-making behind it. And I wish they just didn't treat Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime like a small indie show. There's plenty of fans that would have paid for this. I'm one of them. I can name 5 or 10 people off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's way more that would have paid for what was, I'm sure, an awesome, awesome show. So, you know, I always say this company sometimes giveth and then they taketh, and they go out of their way to restrict viewership and revenue and income by pretending like the international audience just doesn't exist. I don't think they don't need to cater or pander to us. They didn't need to even subtitle the concert. I think that would have been crazy. I wouldn't have expected that. But music is music, man. Music is its own language. And sometimes you don't even need to understand the native tongue or the words that are being sung in a song in order to feel its power and be inspired. And that's how I feel with a lot of these openings and endings. Man, it would have been so cool to be able to watch this concert. And yeah, for whatever reason, I can't, only because I don't live in Japan. And I don't know why that restriction was put in place. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about what I think is probably the coolest concert that has ever happened. And on the later half of this video, talk about how frustrating it is just with these restrictions. But you guys let me know all your thoughts. If any of you guys attended or were able to watch, I'd love to know what some of your favorite performances were. And I'd love to know just your overall thoughts on this event, because it seemed really, really cool. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm excited to talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.